So, okay. So welcome back. I think this show is exactly at the right time. There was no question in my mind at all which capital of Tehillim we should learn today. It wasn't like it was a choice of 2 or 3 different ones, which I thought would work correct for the time that we find ourselves in now. I think every single person who is calling for us to say Tehillim at the moment is suggesting that we say Kapitel Kuf Chaf Aleph 121 as one of the kapitlach we should be saying now. It's one of those chapters of Tehillim that probably we should all learn off by heart, and we could say it wherever we are, in our cars, at the robot, wherever, standing in our kitchens. We should be saying Kuf Chaf Aleph and asking Hashem to protect us and to protect all the Yidden of Eretz Yisrael. And in it contains everything, asking for a shlema, asking for protection, asking for help. It contains everything in it. So definitely, even though we have learned this together before, it's about a year and a half ago that we learned it, and so I thought that it's definitely worth learning it again. Hopefully adding in our learning and reviewing what we have already learned. Also, interestingly, another reason why it is the right capital to be learning at this time. So there is such a custom. This capital, as if you've looked in it at all, you see that it begins with the words Shir HaMa'alot, and it's one of 15 chapters of the Shir HaMa'alot, the 15 chapters that begin with the words Shir HaMa'alot, which we'll discuss very briefly because we've also done that before. But there is such a custom that between Sukkot and Pesach, on Shabbos afternoon, we should say these 15 chapters of Tehillim. So for those who had the custom to say Pirkei Avot every Shabbos afternoon until Rosh Hashanah, and then they thought, okay, now we're off the hook. We're going to have Shabbos afternoons to ourselves for the next couple of months until Pesach, and then we start with Pirkei Avot again. So no, there's always something for us to do, and here comes the custom of saying these 15 chapters of Tehillim every Shabbos afternoon from now until Pesach. So Kuf Chaf Aleph, the second one of the 15 Shir HaMa'alot. And interesting side note, and I haven't got an answer for it, but I'll just point it out to you, is that this capital, which is the second one of the 15 kapitlach, when the Levim sang these chapters, they sang this one before Kuf Chaf 120. I'm going to see if I can mute. I still don't know how. Sometimes it happens by fluke. But otherwise, you have to mute yourselves, please. Okay. So, now, just again to review quickly this concept of the 15 chapters. Why 15 dafka? So these were written at a very surface level. They were written, composed for the Levim to sing as they went up the 15 steps in the Beit HaMikdash. And they would sing a different chapter on each step in the Beis HaMikdash. According to the Zohar, 15 is the number of change in Kabbalah. If we want to change anything about ourselves spiritually, apparently it takes 15 steps. Most famously, you probably know the Seder, where we have 15 steps in order to come to the point of the whole point of what we're trying to achieve through the service of the Seder. And there are lots of other things that have 15 where we're looking for change. So again, very famously, a woman does 15 checks before she goes to the mikveh. She's changing from a state of tameh to a state of tahar, of purity, and she goes through 15 steps. One of the really beautiful number 15s that we have is Birkat Kohanim, when the Duchening, when the Kohanim bless us, they bless us with 15 words. This is the greatest blessing that one human being can give to another, and there are 15 words in it. There are lots of other things to do with 15, which I'm not going to go into now. But this Shir HaMa'alot it's one of the 15, the things to do with 15. So let's look at this particular capital. I also think that it is worth it for us as a gathering of a few people. I'm quickly going to say the whole capital as saying a chapter of Tehillim, and anyone who has a Tehillim in front of them can say along with me. Shir HaMa'alot Esa Einai El Heharim Me'ayin Yavai Ezri Me'im Adonai Oiseh Shamayim Va'aretz Al Yitain Lamoit Raglecha Al Yanum Shem Recha Hinei Lo Yanum V'Lo Yishan Shomer Yisrael Adonai Shem Recha Adonai Tzilcha Al Yad Yeminecha Yomam Hashemesh Lo Yakeka V'Yareach Balayla Adonai Yishmarcha Mikol Ra Yishmar Es Nafshecha Adonai Yishmar Tzeischa Uvayecha Me'ata V'Ad Eilam. So let's look at the deeper meanings, the deeper lessons that are in this chapter. So you know, and we remember over and over that Tehillim is so powerful that we don't have to understand it. We just have to say it. We have a promise that every time we say Tehillim, David HaMelech, as written in the Medrash, that David HaMelech sits up and he says Tehillim along with us, and therefore our Tehillim is very powerful because it's not just us on our own saying Tehillim, but it's us and David HaMelech. So you don't have to understand Tehillim, you just have to open up a book of Tehillim and say it from anywhere, anytime, any place, and just say it. And that in itself is hugely powerful. It's good for us ourselves, it's good for the world, it's good for whoever we're davening for. It's good just to say Tehillim. And of course, anything that we're just saying, it's even better if we understand it. One of the things we need to know is that we can never, ever, 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 ever understand the depth of Tehillim. And every time we look at Tehillim and we try and understand it, we uncover a little bit and a slightly better understanding of the Tehillim than we did last time we looked at it. So it's worth looking at, it's worth trying to understand it, it's worth being inspired or motivated by some of the things that we see written in the Tehillim, but we also have to know that Tehillim is way more powerful than any explanation, any shir that anybody will ever be able to share with you, any book that you'll be able to read. Tehillim is much, much deeper than that. So looking a little bit, as we said, Shir LaMa'alot, this is a song for going up. That would be the literal translation. So if you have a Tehillim in front of you and you look at the chapter before or any of the next few chapters after, you'll see that they all begin Shir HaMa'alot, and this one begins Shir LaMa'alot. What is the difference between a hey, a ha, and a lamed, which is the la? So the hey, the ha, Shir HaMa'alot, a song of going up. It's a song for the going up. When the Levim would go up the steps, they would sing the song. And Chazal tell us that anytime we say any of these 15 chapters of Tehillim, just the act of saying them raises us. It helps us to go up. So not only in the practical, physical thing of walking up the stairs, but a soul thing, going up, ascending, becoming greater spiritually. If a person wants to do that, say these 15 chapters of Tehillim, or even one of them, just say some of this Tehillim, and Shir LaMa'alot or Shir HaMa'alot, it will take you up. These are the songs that will raise you spiritually. And this particular one, this Kuf Chaf Aleph 121, is Shir LaMa'alot. It's a song for going up. In other words, when a person feels that they need to go up, then this is the song that we sing. It's not. It's when a person has that feeling inside them that now we need Hashem. Now we need to go up. Now I need to connect somehow. Shir LaMa'alot. This shir is LaMa'alot. It is for the purpose of taking ourselves up, of raising ourselves. The Alshich says that this is also an instruction for us. Shir LaMa'alot. Sing, and then you will go up. And this is, again, I think, very significant when it's talking about like Yontef time. So we know that when we're standing and davening on Yontef, that different tunes are used for different things. And the instruction that Al-Sheikh says is Shir la Ma'alot. How do we connect to our Yontef davening? How do we connect to Hashem? And it's not only Yontef davening, it's daily davening, Shabbos davening. How do we connect? Says the Al-Sheikh, this is an instruction from David HaMelech. Shir, sing, la ma'alot, because that, the tune, the melody, the singing of it is going to help you, to raise you, to lift you. And so that's the first instruction that we have here from this capital of Tehillim. I also want to bring this capital of Tehillim to some kind of history lesson or perspective. By most opinions, this chapter was composed by Yaakov. And when was it? Paint you the picture. Yaakov was running away from his uncle who had cheated him badly, and he's been at his uncle now for 22 years. He's gotten a huge fortune. His uncle's tried so hard to cheat him out of all different animals. His uncle even tried to cheat him out of which wife to marry, but he's done very, very well for himself, and he's wealthy, and he's got 4 wives, and he's got lots of children, and he's got cattle, and he's got everything. And Hashem comes to him and says to him, it's time to go back. You've got to back. And his knows that Lavan will never allow him to go back. And so he runs away. And he runs away when Lavan is 3 days away, and he comes into the mountains. And remember that there's no fancy roads like they are now. They are walking with all these children and animals and servants, and everybody is walking through difficult roads of the mountains. And Lavan catches up with him. And Lavan says, where are you going? And as the commentaries tell us, Lavan fully intended to kill him, to absolutely annihilate Yaakov. And by good talking and negotiating and whatever they did, Yaakov manages to convince Lavan to go home and leave him to go on to Israel. But Lavan is not so sure he wants to go. He agrees and he moves back. And it seems to Yaakov that Lavan is leaving, but he can still see him. And Lavan is not rushing home. And then Yaakov looks ahead to Israel where he's going, and there he sees in the distance Esav coming together with 400 men. And except for the Rashbam, every other commentary feels the same way most of us do when we hear this story. Esav is now coming at him, not to have a party. He's coming with 400 men, and he is coming to annihilate Yaakov. And he knows that Esav hates him, because that's why he landed up by Lavan in the first place. And it's at this point that Yaakov says, Esa einai el heharim. I lift my eyes to the mountains, okay? I look to this side of the mountain and I see Lavan. I look to that side of the mountain and I see Esav, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if there's any hope. What do I suddenly realize? Absolutely. So I'm wondering, Ma'ayin Yava Ezri, where's my help going to come from? Ezri Ma'im Hashem. My help can only come from Hashem. If I'm depending on human beings, then I've got to worry about Lavan and I've got to worry about Esav. But if I realize where my help is coming from, Ezri Ma'im Hashem, it's coming from Hashem, then I don't have to worry. Then I know that I'll be okay, that I will survive this. Interesting to see in this pasuk that it doesn't say I look into the mountains and I wonder if help is coming, but it says I look into the mountains and I say, where is my help coming from? In other words, Yaakov believes absolutely and completely that there is going to be help. He is going to be helped. He doesn't know how, he doesn't know what's going to happen, but he knows without doubt that he's going to be helped. And the Al-Sheikh says that this is the few lessons for us. He says everybody has a Yaakov moment. Sometimes it's like now that we all are wondering, is Hashem going to help Eretz Israel? How's he going to do it? What's he going to do? What's going to happen? And sometimes it's a private, personal Yaakov moment where we have our own issues. And we're also wondering, am I going to be helped? How am I going to be helped? Where's the help going to come from? And this is the capital, this is the chapter of Tehillim to say, because it has so many lessons for us in it. And lesson number one is not, am I going to be helped? But it's, how am I going to be helped? What is Hashem's plan? How is he going to help me now? And Yaakov answers us, David HaMelech records it for us, Ezri Me'im Hashem. A person has to know that our help is going to come from Hashem. He's the one who created the heavens and the earth, and he will help us. What does it mean to look to the mountains? What is this concept or this idea of looking at the mountains? So a few different commentaries explain what this means when Yaakov says that I raise my eyes to the mountains. We're not all Yaakov standing in the middle of the mountains. We're not all living in Cape Town and looking at the mountains. So what does David HaMelech mean when he says, Esa einai el heharim, I raise my eyes to the mountains? So a few different understandings of this concept of looking to the mountains. Mountains represent something big, something bigger than us. And so mostly when we're afraid, when we're feeling challenged, it's because there is a big mountain. There's something that's so much bigger than us, and that's what's making me scared. So we look, okay, as a nation, everybody is busy looking to see, what did America say? What did England say? What does Russia? These are the mountains of the world. These are the governments of the world, and we're looking out to see what are they saying? Are they going to help us? Are they going to be on our side? That's normal. That's typical. Esa einai el heharim. We look around at the mountains, but what do we have to know? That it's nice and it's comforting if the American president says he's going to help Israel, if whatever the big mountains tell us that they're going to be there for us. But absolutely, who do we have to know is the one who's going to help us? Ezri Me'im Hashem. It's Hashem. It doesn't matter if all those mountains don't say that they're going to come and help us. Our real help, our real thing is going to come Me'im Hashem. It's going to come from Hashem. Another understanding of this concept of mountains. So in a lot of the Sefer Bereshis, the book of Bereshis, the old tzaddikim are referred to as mountains. Most famously, Avraham and Yitzchak are called mountains. And so say the commentaries, that when it says, Esa einai el heharim, look up to the mountains, it's giving us an advice. Look up for guidance to people who know more than me. Go and see, who are the mountains of our generation, the mountains of our cities, the mountains of our small own little lives. Who are the people who are guiding us? Who are the people who are telling us, showing us what to do? Esa einai el heharim, raise your eyes to the mountains, to the leaders, and then you will and wonder, ask them, Ma'ayin yava Ezri, where's my help going to come from? And Hashem will give them the right words, the right advice for us in order for us to succeed. And again, we're talking at not only at a national level, we're talking about even personal levels. Many years ago, the Rebbe introduced the concept of having a mashpia. A mashpia means a spiritual leader, somebody who knows me well, knows where I'm at spiritually, and can push me to grow higher and greater. And these are the mountains that we're supposed to be looking at. And this is what David HaMelech is telling us over here. When we reach a space in our life where we feel challenges, where we feel crises, and I'm talking about personal ones at this space, and even challenges spiritually, then Esa einai el heharim, turn to our rabbis, turn to our mashpia, turn to our leaders, and let them help us to grow, to get stronger spiritually. And one of the interesting concepts that the Rebbe spoke about then, and we've seen it over the years, a mashpia does not speak from their own wisdom. A mashpia speaks the words that Hashem wants them to say, if it is a real mashpia. And I've seen that on a few odd occasions where I've had the I'm going to say the merit or the task of being mashpia to one or two people. And sometimes they'll ask me something in a spiritual, I'm talking about a more spiritual way. And the answer that I give them, I'm even surprised myself. Why am I saying that? Why did I decide that that's good advice for them? And why is it? Because they chose me as their mashpia, and the answer that they're getting, the messages they're getting, Ezrim im Hashem, it's an answer that's coming from Hashem, not from a regular human being called Rivki Chaikin at that moment. So this is the first advice that this kapitel of Tehillim gives us. It continues and says, Al yitena mot raglecha, Hashem doesn't let our foot slip, V'al yanum shemrecha, and Hashem does not sleep or slumber as he guards us. So that sounds pretty comforting, but if we ask ourselves in honesty, is that really true? Do we feel all the time that Hashem isn't sleeping? There's sometimes where we feel a bit like He is. Okay, and we say to us like, "What is going on?" I don't feel that Hashem is there watching me, not letting me slip, not letting anything happen to me. And I don't always feel this. Hashem shemrecha, Hashem God protects us. Hashem tzilchal yad yaminecha, and Hashem is there as our shadow. He's there at our right hand. There are many times in our lives where we feel very much that Hashem is not there with us. Hashem is not protecting us. Hashem isn't answering necessarily what we are saying. And so Chazal explained to us that what do we mean when we say Hashem is sleeping? None of us think of Hashem as a real human being who lies down and goes to bed at night and sleeps and leaves us to our own devices. So what do we mean when we say Hashem is sleeping? And Chazal explained that this is what we refer to as Hester Panim. Hashem is being hidden at this moment. We cannot see Hashem. We are watching with our physical selves, with our physical eyes, what Hashem is doing, and it doesn't make sense to us. We don't see Hashem's, it's not easy for us physical human beings in a physical world to see Hashem's hand in this. And that's when we think and we translate it into our own understanding, Hashem is sleeping. He's not there with us. And what we're asking of Hashem, Al yanum shomrecha, please Hashem, don't seem to us like you are sleeping. Don't hide from us. Let us rather be able to see you clearly and understand your plan and what you are doing. Just because things are not going our way, just because Hashem is not answering our tefillahs the way that we want Him to, just because things are hard or difficult or ununderstandable, does not mean Hashem is sleeping. It means we simply don't understand. And what we're asking over here, what David HaMelech is telling us to ask Hashem for, is Al yanum shomrecha. We don't want Hashem to appear as sleeping. We want to be able to understand, to see the greatness of Hashem, and to appreciate the greatness of Hashem. Pasuk Vav, Yomem Hashemesh lo yakeko. In the daytime, the sun doesn't will protect us. V'yareach balayla, and the moon at night. And so we know that in most of Tanakh, where it speaks about day and it speaks about night, day represents the times where things are going well, where we are enjoying life. They're not crises, there's not bumps, life is good, we feel blessed, we feel everything is great. That's considered daytime, good things. And nighttime is Rahman al-San, where things are not going the way exactly that we wanted. And again, this is both personal and it's greater at a bigger level, national level. And so in our lives, we all have daytimes and we have night times. So in the daytime, we understand that. Yomem Hashem lo yakeko. In the daytime, we see Hashem's hand in everything. And we have to remind ourselves to see Hashem's hand. It's easy to forget that Hashem is the one who's giving us all that. But at night, where things are difficult, how do we see Hashem? And David HaMelech says, have a look. V'yareach balayla. Even in the nighttime, there is a moon. There's a little bit of light. And we need to be looking at the little bit of light even when things are hard, because it's that which is going to help us. It's going to give us the strength. It's going to give us the chizuk to get through the night, to go through the difficulties and the challenges. And I always find that so fascinating. And again, now in these last few days, what gives us more chizuk? When we go and we look online and we see terrible images and we hear horrible stories, or we see, and thank God we've seen profuse amounts of beautiful, heartwarming stories. We see stories of regular Jews giving out their taking off their tzitzis and handing them over to soldiers, and we see people standing on street corners and giving bamba to the soldiers, and we see little children giving out cotton candy to people, and we watch Tehillim groups, rolling Tehillim groups that are just moving and moving and moving with Tehillim. These positive things, that is the Yareach Balayla, it's the moon in the night. It's the things that give us the strength, that motivate us and show us that really Hashem is there, and He will take care of us. Hashem Yishmorcha Mikol Ra. Hashem will protect us from all bad. Yishmor et nafshecha, and He will protect our soul as well. And the commentaries tell us that we should read this not just at the one level of Hashem will protect us and our souls, but we should put some punctuation slightly differently, and we should read this Hashem Yishmarcha Mikol Ra. If we want Hashem now to protect us from all bad, what should we do? Yishmor et nafshecha. We should protect our souls. We should add mitzvahs, and we should add good things, and we should add prayers, and we should give more tzedakah. Yishmor et nafshecha. Guard your own soul, and that should be a bribe, so to speak, for Hashem to protect us from all bad. Hashem Yishmor et seisecha ubayecha. Hashem will guard us our going and our coming. In other words, Hashem will be involved with every aspect of our lives, me'ata v'ad olam, from now until forever, which is obviously talking about Mashiach time. And may we see this all in truth soon in our days. And that brings us to the end of one level of understanding, Kuf Chaf Aleph 121. Thank you.
Very beautiful. Thank you so much.
Rifki. What we needed.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rifki.
Thank
Very
you.
beautiful.
Thank you,
Thank you
Rifki.
so much. Just take care. Take care.